I used to think money didn't matter as long as I had enough to eat, pay rent, and go out with friends on weekends. I thought surviving meant I was doing fine, until I started feeling that silent pressure growing behind the scenes, day after day. At first, I didn't notice it. But over time, my chest would tighten every time I opened my banking app. I'd stare at the screen like it was a countdown to disaster, wondering how I could work so hard and still feel so behind, so out of control. It was like water slipping through my hands. I'd get paid and feel good, for a day. Then the bills would hit. The groceries. The random things I forgot. And just like that, my account was back to almost nothing. I was stuck in a loop I didn't understand. The worst part? I didn't grow up learning how money works. Nobody told me how to build a budget, grow savings, or protect myself from debt. They taught me algebra in school, but not how interest eats away at your life if you ignore it. I knew how to earn. I knew how to spend. I knew how to survive. But I didn't know how to breathe when I looked at my future and saw nothing but anxiety and numbers that never added up. No one tells you how heavy money can feel when you don't get it. So I lived like that. Smiling outside. Stressed inside. I acted like everything was okay. But the truth? I avoided looking at my account. I avoided hard conversations. I avoided planning, saving, and facing the fact that I was quietly sinking. Money started to control my choices. I couldn't say yes to trips. I couldn't say no to overtime. I stopped sleeping well. I stopped dreaming big. And it wasn't because I was lazy or dumb, it was because I didn't have a system. I didn't have power. You ever been there? Where your paycheck hits and it's already gone? Where rent, food, bills, and just life eat everything before you even get to breathe? I felt like I was falling, and the scariest part was thinking, maybe this is just how life is. But it's not. That's the lie. It's not normal. It's just common. And there's a big difference. Because common can be changed. Normal is what you accept. I wasn't ready to accept that struggle was my only future. I wanted out, but I didn't know how. Until one night I snapped. I had $32 in my account. Rent was due in 2 days. My card had just been declined for coffee. And I stood there, alone in the dark, realizing I was done pretending. I couldn't fake it anymore. I needed to change everything. And here's what I realized. If you don't master your money, it will master you. It will own your time, your decisions, your peace of mind. It will keep you stuck, small, scared, and you won't even know why. That's how money traps us. Quietly. Slowly. But that moment, as painful as it was also my first step toward freedom. I made a decision. Not to get rich fast. Not to chase luxury. But to get free. To breathe. To build something real. To never feel powerless about money again. This story you're watching? It's not about me being perfect. It's about me finally getting real. Facing the fear. Learning the skills. Taking control. Because once you master your money, you start to master your life, and everything begins to shift. The hardest part of changing your money story isn't saving more, earning more, or finding the perfect app. The hardest part is stopping long enough to face the truth, the numbers you've been avoiding, the spending you don't want to admit, the fear you've buried. One night, I made myself sit down with nothing but a notebook, a laptop, and a sick feeling in my stomach. I opened my bank app. Then my credit card accounts. Then my loan statements. And then I sat there, staring at numbers that didn't lie. I had to stop blaming bad luck, bad bosses, or bad timing. The truth was in front of me. Money was never the enemy. It was a mirror, and it reflected back every decision I had made, conscious or not. That realization shook me, but it woke me up. I wrote it all down, my checking balance, savings, or what was left of it, every debt I owed, interest rates, due dates. I looked at the last month of transactions and asked myself, did I really need this? More times than I care to admit. Here's what I discovered, and I hope this part really sticks with you. I wasn't bad with money. I was just unaware. I wasn't stupid. I was just avoiding. And avoiding pain doesn't protect you from it. It only delays it, and lets it grow in the dark. So if you're serious about change, here's what I want you to do tonight. Write down every account you have, checking, savings, credit cards, loans, digital wallets. Anything with money in or out. No hiding. No shame. Just facts. Next, write down every debt you owe, every dollar, every lender, every interest rate, every monthly payment. Don't guess. Look it up. Know your enemy. Because once you name it, it stops being this shadow monster chasing you in your dreams. Then, And this is the part that will humble you. Look at your spending from the last 30 days. Highlight what was necessary: rent, bills, food. Then highlight what was emotional: takeout, impulse buys, subscriptions you forgot to cancel. Be honest. You can't fix what you won't face. And you can't win at something you're afraid to look at. But here's the good news: the moment you write it all down, you take your power back. You stop guessing. You stop hiding. You start owning your reality. I wrote this sentence on the top of the page that changed everything for me. I'm not broken. I'm just blind, and I'm learning to see. That shift in mindset? It gave me the strength to keep going. To learn. To forgive myself. To rebuild. You don't need to feel ashamed. You just need to feel ready. Ready to do something different. Ready to become someone new. This is where the story changes, not when you get rich, but when you get real. That's what facing the mirror is about. So take one quiet evening. No distractions. No excuses. Open everything. Print it if you have to. Write it down if that feels better. But face your finances like your future depends on it, because it does. After I faced the numbers, I sat in silence. I felt exposed, like I had just read a bad review of my own life, written in dollar signs and receipts. But weirdly, I also felt relief. Because now I knew exactly where I stood. And that gave me power. I was done winging it. Done hoping things would magically fix themselves. So I did what scared me the most. I built a budget. A real one. Not just a mental list of, I'll spend less this month. But an actual, simple, working plan to guide my money. Forget all those fancy spreadsheets and complicated formulas. I didn't need color-coded charts or 5 bank accounts. I needed something real. Something doable. Something that could help me survive now, and slowly start to breathe again later. Here's the budget system that finally worked for me. I call it the 50/30/20 reset budget, but I made it super flexible. Not perfect. Not strict. Just real. And it helped me turn chaos into clarity. You can try it today. No excuses. Just action. Backhand index pointing right. Step 1. Track your total monthly income, after taxes. Not your dream income. Not what you wish it was. What actually lands in your account. Paycheck, side hustle, anything. Be honest. Even if it's inconsistent, you need to start with truth. Backhand index pointing right. Step 2. Break it down into 3 main buckets. 50% equals needs, rent, food, transport, bills. 30% equals wants, fun, streaming, shopping. 20% equals financial growth, savings, debt payments. Sounds basic. But most of us don't follow it. I sure didn't. Now here's the part 1 adjusted, because honestly, my needs took up more than 50%. Rent was crushing me. Groceries were wild. So I flipped the script. I worked with what I had and made a survival mode version that still gave me control. In survival mode, I made this rule. 70% goes to must-haves. 10% goes to wants. 20% still goes to financial growth. Because if I wasn't saving something, I'd stay stuck. Even if it was $20 a month, it mattered. Progress is progress. Then I opened a second bank account. One just for savings and debt payments. I called it Freedom Fund. Every payday, I automatically moved 20% there. That way I didn't accidentally spend it. Out of sight. Out of temptation. Out of the cycle. The first month I did this, it wasn't perfect. I overspent in week 2. Had to borrow from my wants bucket to pay for groceries. But guess what? I still saved $42. And that was $42 more than the month before. That tiny win gave me a spark of hope. And that's what budgeting should do. Not punish you. Not trap you. Not make you feel like a failure if you eat out twice in 1 week. A real budget gives you clarity, not guilt. It helps you make decisions with purpose instead of panic. I kept going. Adjusting the numbers. Learning from mistakes. Every dollar had a job. I didn't ask, "Can I afford this?" I asked, "Did I plan for this?" That one change in language kept me from falling back into the chaos of emotional spending. And here's the beautiful part. The moment I gave every dollar a job, I stopped feeling helpless. I started feeling in control. For the first time in years, I wasn't reacting to money, I was directing it. That's when I realized, this wasn't just a budget. It was a blueprint. A way forward. A map out of the maze. Once I had my budget in place, I felt like I finally had direction. But something still wasn't adding up. I was spending less, tracking everything, and sticking to my plan. And yet, by the end of each month, I still felt short. Something was off. So I went back and looked deeper, line by line. And what I found completely changed the game. It wasn't the big expenses that were hurting me. It was the small ones. The quiet ones. The ones that sneak through the cracks when you're not looking. These were the money leaks. Tiny, forgettable habits that added up to hundreds of dollars every month. Things like subscriptions I didn't use. Delivery fees that felt worth it in the moment. ATM charges. Rounding errors. Late fees. Silent thieves. And I want to walk you through the exact process I used to find them. You can do this in 30 minutes tonight. It's uncomfortable, yes. But it's worth every second. I call it the leak hunt, and it's one of the fastest ways to regain control fast. Magnifying glass tilted left. Step 1. Pull up your last 2 bank statements. Print them or export to a spreadsheet. The goal here isn't judgment. It's awareness. You're a detective now, not a failure. Circle every expense under $20. Don't skip even one. Magnifying glass tilted left. Step 2. Group them. Subscriptions. Food delivery. In-app purchases. Coffee/snacks. Parking/tolls. ATM/late fees. Now add them up by category. Prepare to be shocked. My small stuff totaled $312 in 1 month. I nearly dropped my phone. It was like finding a slow leak in a tire. You don't notice it right away. But one day, you wake up stranded. That's what these small leaks do to your money. You think, it's just $8. Or, it's only $4.99. But those habits compound fast. So here's what I did, and you can do it too. Heavy checkmark. Cancelled every subscription I didn't use weekly. If I had to think twice about it, I paused or cut it. That included apps, streaming, memberships, and random upgrades. Heavy checkmark. Cut down food delivery to once per month. I started meal prepping twice a week. Basic stuff. Rice, chicken, veggies. I saved $180 that month, just from cooking on Sunday and Wednesday nights. Heavy checkmark. Set cash alerts on my phone. Anytime I spent more than $10, my phone buzzed. It wasn't to shame me. It was to wake me up. To make every purchase intentional. That one change made me feel powerful instead of passive. Heavy checkmark. Switched to using only one debit card for daily spending. I turned off notifications for all other cards. Out of sight. Out of spending range. That card became my safe zone, and I called it my freedom card. By the end of that month, I saved $276, without earning a penny more. That was more than I used to have in savings total. It blew my mind. Not because I was suddenly rich, but because I finally felt in control. Small wins create big momentum. It's not about being cheap. It's about being conscious. You can still have fun. You can still spend. But you do it with eyes wide open. With purpose. With a plan. That's what separates the broke from the building. Awareness. Consistency. Power. Before this journey, I handled emergencies with panic. I'd swipe my credit card, borrow money, or just hope the problem would fix itself. That approach left me sleepless, anxious, and stuck. So I decided it was time to build a real emergency fund, a true safety net. I thought I needed thousands of dollars to get started. I believed saving just a little wouldn't matter. But I was wrong. The key was starting small, consistently, with zero judgment, and building momentum over time. Saving a little was better than saving nothing. My first goal was simple: save $500. Not some huge, impossible number, but enough to cover unexpected expenses like a car repair or a medical bill. That small goal felt doable, and I committed to it fully, even when money was tight and the future uncertain. The first step was opening a separate savings account, one I didn't use for daily spending. Out of sight, out of temptation. I called mine Peace, because that's what I wanted it to bring me, a sense of calm and control over my finances and future. Then I set up automatic transfers every payday, no matter what. Even if it was just $10 or $15, I treated it like a bill I couldn't skip. That small, consistent action helped me build discipline and made saving a natural part of my routine, not an afterthought. I also added any extra savings I made from cutting expenses or earning cash back directly into this fund. Those $5 here and $20 there started adding up faster than I expected, and watching the balance grow was a powerful motivator to keep going. Within 2 months, I had nearly $400 saved. It wasn't a fortune, but it was my fortress. It gave me options and breathing room for the first time. That fund was more than money. It was proof that I could take control, one small step at a time. Hitting that $500 mark made me feel unstoppable. I wasn't a victim of my circumstances anymore. I was building a foundation for my future. That feeling of safety changed how I made decisions and how I saw myself. It was the beginning of real financial freedom. This fund isn't just money in a bank. It's peace of mind. It's confidence in the face of uncertainty. It's the quiet power that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you without panic or fear. Debt was like a shadow I couldn't shake. Every month, minimum payments swallowed my paycheck, leaving me stuck in a cycle of stress and frustration. I knew I needed a plan, but the thought of paying it all off felt impossible and overwhelming. I started by listing every debt I owed: credit cards, loans, even those tiny store cards I forgot about. I wrote down the balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. Seeing the full picture made the problem real, but also gave me a roadmap to follow. Then I chose a simple strategy: the debt snowball method. I focused on paying off the smallest debt first, while making minimum payments on the rest. This gave me quick wins that boosted my motivation and helped me build momentum. Every extra dollar I saved from my budget and cutting leaks went straight toward that smallest debt. It was tough to stay consistent, but seeing that first debt disappear was like breaking a chain I didn't even know was holding me down. Once that debt was gone, I moved on to the next smallest one, rolling over the payment I had been making and adding more from my budget. Each debt paid off freed up money to attack the next one faster, and before I knew it, I was making real progress. The key was patience and consistency. I didn't need to throw all my money at debt and starve myself. I needed a plan that worked with my life, not against it. This method gave me hope and proof that I could take control and win. Along the way, I learned to avoid new debt like the plague. I stopped using credit cards except for planned, budgeted purchases and paid them off immediately. It was hard to change habits, but necessary to keep moving forward. I also found support in small victories, celebrating each debt paid off, no matter how small. Those wins kept me motivated on the hardest days. Debt isn't just numbers, it's emotional. So every step forward was a step toward freedom. Debt doesn't disappear overnight, but with a plan and persistence, it loses power. I'm living proof. And you can be too. This simple, repeatable system gave me hope when I thought all was lost. After years of struggling with debt, I thought wealth was impossible for me. I believed it was something only rich people could chase. But once I paid off some debt, I realized wealth isn't a secret club, it's a habit, a mindset, and a daily choice. The first step toward building wealth was simple: start small. I didn't have extra cash lying around, but I found tiny ways to invest in myself and my future. Even $5 a week felt like planting a seed, small, but with potential to grow. I opened a basic investment account and started with what felt comfortable. I chose low-risk options because I was cautious, but more importantly, I was consistent. Every week, I put money in, even on hard days. Consistency beat perfection. I also learned about the power of compound interest, how money grows on money over time. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, getting bigger and faster. Starting early, even with little, makes a huge difference in the long run. Alongside investing, I read books and listened to podcasts about money and mindset. I realized building wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about believing you deserve it and learning the skills to get there. Education became my secret weapon. I set small goals like saving for a rainy day, then for a trip, and eventually for bigger dreams. These goals kept me motivated and gave my money purpose. I wasn't just surviving, I was building a future I could be proud of. Wealth building isn't flashy or instant. It's slow, steady, and sometimes boring. But every dollar saved, every investment made, every smart choice is a step away from struggle and closer to freedom. When I first started this journey, my biggest battle wasn't numbers or budgets. It was my mindset. I believed I was destined to struggle with money, that I'd never be good with it or deserve to be free. Those thoughts ran deep, like an old tape stuck on repeat. I thought money was scarce, like a pie that only a few could have a slice of. I thought rich people were lucky or born into it. I thought if I messed up once, I'd never recover. That kind of thinking kept me trapped in fear, shame, and hesitation for years. But here's the truth I learned. Your mindset shapes your reality more than your bank balance. How you think about money controls your choices and your future. If you believe money controls you, it will. If you believe you control money, it can empower you. Changing my mindset wasn't easy. It took time and patience. It meant catching myself when I thought, I can't afford this. And asking, how can I afford this? It meant replacing I'm broke with I'm learning. It meant practicing gratitude for what I had. I started journaling every morning, writing down my money goals and repeating positive affirmations like, I am worthy of financial freedom. And, I am learning to manage my money wisely. Saying these out loud felt weird at first, but it rewired my brain little by little. I also paid close attention to the stories I told myself about money. Where did they come from? Family? Friends? Society? I realized I had inherited limiting beliefs that no longer served me. Recognizing those old stories helped me replace them with new ones based on growth and possibility. I surrounded myself with positive influences, books, podcasts, and people who inspired me to think differently. I stopped comparing my progress to others and focused on my own path, understanding that financial mastery is a journey, not a race. One powerful question I started asking myself daily was, what can I do today, no matter how small, to improve my financial life? That shifted my focus from fear and overwhelm to action and hope. Changing your money mindset is like rewiring a computer. At first, it glitches and struggles. But with practice, it runs faster and stronger. You begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles, and your decisions align with your new beliefs. This shift in thinking laid the foundation for every financial step I took after. It made saving easier, budgeting less stressful, and investing feel possible. It changed my relationship with money from enemy to ally. For years, I believed one paycheck was enough, that if I worked hard at my job, money would come. But life showed me otherwise. Unexpected expenses hit. Hours got cut. Stress piled up. I realized relying on just one income was risky and limiting. That's when I started looking for ways to create multiple streams of income. I wanted freedom from the anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck and a chance to build real wealth. But honestly, the idea was overwhelming at first. Where do you even start? I began by listing my skills, interests, and resources. What could I offer? What could I learn? I didn't have to invent something new or become an expert overnight. I just needed to take one small step in a direction that felt right for me. One stream came from freelancing, using skills I already had like writing and graphic design. It wasn't much at first, just a few clients here and there, but it grew steadily because I showed up consistently and delivered value. That consistency was key. Next, I dipped my toes into online selling. I sold old things I no longer used, then created simple digital products like printables. It took some trial and error, but every dollar earned felt like a brick in my foundation of financial security. I also learned about passive income, money that works for you while you sleep. It sounded too good to be true, but I educated myself about things like dividends, rental income, and affiliate marketing. I started small but planned for growth over time. Diversifying my income didn't mean quitting my day job overnight. It meant building safety nets, creating options, and reducing dependence on one source. That shift brought peace of mind. Suddenly, money didn't feel so scary anymore. The key was mindset and action. I asked myself, what can I do this week to add a little income on the side? Even if it was just one email sent or one product listed. Small, consistent steps added up and boosted my confidence. Of course, there were setbacks. Some projects failed. Some clients ghosted. But I learned not to see those as failures, just lessons and pivots. I kept moving forward, learning, and building momentum with every effort. Creating multiple income streams transformed my financial life. It gave me options and control, reduced stress, and opened doors I never knew existed. It's not easy, but it's possible. And the power is in your hands to start today. When I started building multiple income streams, I quickly realized that money isn't the only thing I needed to manage. My time and energy became my most precious resources. Without balance, burnout was waiting just around the corner. At first, I tried to do everything at once, working late nights, skipping breaks, and pushing myself until exhaustion. I thought hustle meant sacrifice, and I believed that pain was part of the process. But that only led to stress and burnout, not success. I had to learn to master my time, prioritize tasks, and protect my energy. That meant saying no to distractions, setting clear goals, and creating routines that supported my work without overwhelming me. Balance wasn't a luxury, it was essential. One of the first things I did was schedule my work in blocks of focused time, followed by short breaks. I used techniques like the Pomodoro method, working for 25 minutes, then resting for 5. This helped me stay productive and avoid mental fatigue. I also learned to identify my peak energy hours. For me, mornings were golden. I tackled the hardest tasks then. Afternoons and evenings were for lighter work, learning, or rest. Listening to my body's natural rhythms changed everything. Setting boundaries was key. I stopped answering emails after a certain hour. I said no to extra projects that didn't align with my goals. Protecting my personal time helped me recharge and maintain motivation over the long haul. Self-care wasn't just bubble baths or sleep. It was about nourishing my mind and body to sustain consistent effort. Regular exercise, healthy meals, and enough sleep became non-negotiables. When I cared for myself, my work improved too. I also embraced the power of delegation and automation. I started using tools to schedule social media posts, automate invoices, and organize tasks. Whenever possible, I outsourced small jobs. This freed up time for high-impact work and rest. Balancing time and energy didn't just make me more productive, it made the journey enjoyable. I stopped chasing burnout and started building sustainable habits that supported both my goals and my well-being. If you're building your financial future, remember this: managing money is only one part. Managing yourself is just as important. Your time and energy are limited. Treat them as valuable investments for long-term success. As I built my financial foundation, something unexpected happened. I discovered that mastering money isn't just about saving or earning. It's about giving back. I used to think generosity was only for the wealthy, something I couldn't afford. But I was wrong. Giving back changed how I saw money and myself. It shifted my focus from scarcity to abundance. It reminded me that money is a tool, one that can create positive change, not just for me, but for others too. That realization was powerful and healing. At first, my giving was small. $1 here, a meal there. It didn't have to be grand to matter. Even tiny acts of generosity made me feel connected and grateful. It broke the cycle of fear and selfishness I had carried for years. I started volunteering my time and skills. Helping others gave me perspective and purpose beyond my financial struggles. It reminded me that wealth includes relationships, community, and impact, not just numbers in a bank account. Generosity also taught me discipline. I committed to giving a percentage of my income, no matter how small. This practice made me more mindful of my spending and more intentional with my money. It was a way to invest in the world and myself. Giving back created a positive feedback loop. The more I gave, the more I felt abundance flowing in. It wasn't about getting something in return, but about trusting that my resources would stretch and multiply in surprising ways. This part of my journey made me realize that money mastery isn't just about control or survival. It's about contribution and legacy. What we do with our resources shapes who we become, and the impact we leave behind. If you're struggling with money, I encourage you to try giving in some way. It doesn't have to be big or perfect. Start small, be consistent, and watch how it transforms your mindset and your life. Managing money can feel overwhelming, but technology changed everything for me. I used to spend hours tracking expenses, stressing over bills, and trying to remember what I owed. Then I discovered apps and tools that took the guesswork and stress away. First, I started using budgeting apps that linked directly to my bank accounts and cards. Instead of manually writing everything down, these apps automatically categorized my spending, showed where leaks were, and reminded me of upcoming bills. It was like having a financial coach in my pocket. Automation became my best friend. I set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts. I automated bill payments to avoid late fees. This way, my money moved on its own, and I didn't have to think about it constantly. Automation gave me freedom and peace of mind. I explored investing apps that made starting easy and affordable. Some allowed me to invest with as little as $5. Others rounded up my purchases and invested the spare change. These small, automatic contributions built my portfolio without me feeling overwhelmed or needing expert knowledge. Alerts and notifications helped me stay on track without obsessing over every dollar. I received gentle reminders about budget limits, bill due dates, and account balances. This balance between awareness and ease helped me avoid financial surprises and stay motivated. Of course, technology isn't perfect. I learned to regularly review my accounts and adjust settings. I kept security in mind by using strong passwords and two-factor authentication. But overall, tech tools made money management simpler and less stressful than ever before. Using these tools helped me build consistent habits, save more, invest smarter, and reduce anxiety. They became trusted allies on my journey to financial mastery. If you haven't explored what's out there, start small, download one app today and see how it changes your life. On this journey to master money, there were times when progress felt slow. Months when my savings barely grew, debts seemed stuck, and motivation dipped low. I wondered if all my effort was worth it or if I'd ever reach my goals. I felt stuck and frustrated. But I learned something crucial: slow progress is still progress. Sometimes the change is quiet, almost invisible, but it's happening beneath the surface. It's like planting seeds that need time to sprout. You just can't see the growth right away. During those tough times, I reminded myself why I started. I pictured the life I wanted, a life with freedom, peace, and options. Holding on to that vision gave me strength when numbers didn't move or setbacks hit. Visualizing my future kept my spirit alive. I also broke big goals into tiny, achievable steps. Instead of focusing on paying off $10,000, I celebrated paying $100. Instead of saving $1,000 this year, I focused on saving $50 this month. Those small wins kept me motivated and built momentum. Another game changer was sharing my journey with others. Talking to friends, joining online groups, and hearing stories like mine helped me feel less alone. It reminded me that setbacks and plateaus are part of the process, not signs of failure. I learned to be patient and kind to myself. Progress isn't always linear. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward, no matter how slow. To stay motivated, I also tracked non-monetary wins, learning a new skill, cutting a bad habit, or making better choices. Those victories built confidence and reminded me that I was growing in more ways than just my bank balance. Remember, this journey is yours. Your pace, your story. Celebrate every step, no matter how small. Your future self will thank you for the patience and persistence you showed today. One of the biggest changes in my money journey came when I learned to set clear, meaningful goals. Before that, I was drifting, saving or spending without direction. Goals gave me a purpose, a reason to wake up and keep pushing, even when it was tough. But not all goals are created equal. I found that goals need to be specific, realistic, and deeply personal to truly fuel your fire. Saying, "I want to save money," is vague. Saying, "I want to save $1,000 for a trip to visit my family by December," creates a clear target. I use the SMART goal method: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This framework helped me break down my dreams into actionable steps. It turned overwhelming ideas into bite-sized challenges I could conquer every day. Visualizing my goals made a huge difference. I created a vision board with pictures representing my dreams: freedom, travel, a debt-free life. Every morning, I looked at it to remind myself why I was working so hard. That daily dose of inspiration kept me focused. I also tracked my progress regularly. I used journals and apps to see how close I was to my goals. Seeing numbers rise or debts shrink gave me confidence and motivation. It turned the abstract into real, measurable success. Accountability helped too. I shared my goals with friends and family who supported me and held me accountable. Their encouragement pushed me forward when I wanted to give up. Knowing someone believed in me made all the difference. Sometimes goals shifted, and that was okay. Life changes, and flexibility allowed me to adjust without losing momentum. The key was staying committed to progress, not perfection. Every step forward, no matter how small, was a victory. Setting powerful goals gave me clarity, focus, and the energy to keep moving toward financial freedom. If you haven't set your goals yet, start today. Write them down. Make them real. Let them fuel your fire every day. As I look back on this journey, there are lessons I wish I had known from the very start. These lessons could have saved me time, stress, and heartbreak. I want to share them with you so your path to mastering money is smoother and stronger. First, don't wait for the perfect time to start. I spent years thinking I needed more money, knowledge, or confidence before I could begin. But the truth is, starting, even imperfectly, is what creates progress. Action beats waiting every time. Second, be kind to yourself. Financial mastery is not a straight line. There will be mistakes, setbacks, and days you want to quit. That's normal. What matters is how you respond. Keep going, learn, and forgive yourself. Growth comes through persistence. Third, build your foundation before chasing big wins. Focus first on budgeting, saving an emergency fund, and paying down debt. These basics create the stability you need to take smart risks later. Without a strong base, everything else feels fragile. Fourth, remember that mindset is everything. Your beliefs about money shape your actions and results. Work daily on rewiring limiting beliefs. Celebrate progress, practice gratitude, and surround yourself with positivity. Your mind is your greatest asset. Fifth, diversify your income and skills. Relying on one source of money is risky. Look for ways to build multiple streams and keep learning. The world changes fast, and adaptability is key to lasting success. Sixth, use technology and tools to your advantage. Automate what you can, track your money easily, and stay informed. These tools save time and reduce stress, letting you focus on what matters most. Seventh, set clear, specific goals. Goals keep you focused and motivated. Make them personal and actionable. Celebrate each milestone and adjust as needed. Goals are the fuel that keeps your journey moving forward. Eighth, give back whenever you can. Generosity creates abundance and connection. It reminds you that money is a tool for impact, not just survival. Giving enriches your life and those around you. Lastly, remember that mastering money is about freedom. Freedom to live on your terms, to care for those you love, and to build the life you dream of. It's not about perfection or chasing more, it's about control, peace, and purpose. You've taken the first steps, learned the hard lessons, and grown stronger. Now it's your turn to keep moving forward. Master your money before it masters you, and live the life you deserve. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share your own money story in the comments. Let's build a community of support and success.